Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone XS Max and see how this particular phone holds up in the later part of 2024. Now, number one, I would definitely say a phone like the Samsung Galaxy S24, I will definitely tell you a phone like the iPhone XS Max is still a very interesting device to say the least. It's still supported with software, and it still is a very good device in a lot of different ways. Like, I do think if you're in the market and you're going to go and get a device, it's an old phone, but it still has a lot of cool things going on with it. So I do think that in and of itself is a very interesting thing going on with a device like this. Now, with that being said, I will probably tell you in a majority of ways that getting a phone like an iPhone XS Max may not be the best decision in the world. It might make more sense to go and buy something like that's still supported with software. So this thing, is still kind of supported, but it's not really that supported as you probably would think. So that is kind of the issue that you're going to kind of imagine when you're getting a device like this. But with that being said, I still look at a device like this as still being kind of interesting. Number one, the display on this thing, 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, it's still kind of interesting, right? It's still not a bad display by any means, but it's definitely not that perfect, and that can be an issue that some people might be experiencing. So if you are going to go through and pick up a device, it might make more sense to go and get a device that's still going to be giving you a better experience. This thing might not be giving you that great of an experience with the display, but it's still good enough for the most part. Lightning port at the bottom, curved sides, solid glass back with a dual camera setup with wireless charging. So with a phone like this, you're still getting a pretty decent experience. It still feels fairly expensive. And when I did go through and compare this thing against phones like the iPhone 16s that just came out and some other devices here and there, I was actually still shocked by how good of a job this thing was basically still doing. So I do think once again that in and of itself is a very cool thing going on with this type of device, and I would probably say in a lot of ways that in and of itself probably speaks a lot for the character of this type of device. Now, within iOS 18, this device has been kind of interesting as well. So I think most of you know, but iOS 18 has been a little bit of a work in progress. There's been some issues, some problems here and there, but I will still say for the most part, there's been a lot of improvements that, Apple has been kind of, putting inside of iOS 18. And even in a device like this, it still has been giving us a pretty good experience, right? This is basically the oldest supported iPhone on this version of software. And the fact that it still is pretty, it's performing decently well on it, I think is very important. Now, when I did compare this thing against my iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is basically the successor of this type of device, I'm still pretty shocked about this type of phone. And I think that in and of itself, again, is another very important thing to keep in mind. If you're able to go through and pick up a device, getting a device that's still supported and giving you a good experience and everything like that, I think is very important. And with a phone like this, that in and of itself is a very cool thing. Because when compared to the 16 Pro Max, it still feels very premium, although the 16 Pro Max feels more premium. The XS Max, this display is not bad, and I will still say in a lot of ways, I look at a device like the 16 Pro Max, I'm still very, I'd rather have that device, but I think the XS Max is a very good device too. So to kind of sum it up, what I definitely will tell you, I'm a really big fan of the XS Max when it first came out, and I still think in a lot of ways it still is a very good device, but I do think it makes a lot more sense to go and buy a device that is still supported with software, and I will probably tell you a 16 Pro Max probably makes more sense to buy, but the 15 Pro Max is still good, and a lot of other these devices are really good too. The XS Max is just kind of outdated, doesn't make a lot of sense to buy it, but I'd recommend buying something like a 13 Pro Max or 14 Pro Max. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.